Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, President Buhari orders strong military action to end the violence in southern Kaduna state. Another Chibok girl rescued by troops of the Operation Lafia Dole in Borno state. The federal government says safety of air travelers and airlines will not be compromised as closure of Abuja airport takes effect on March 8th. And Chad closes border with Libya over terrorism threats, declares border areas as military zone.
And in business news tonight, OPEC's crude output falls by 310,000 barrels per day in December 2016 following disruptions from Nigeria.
On sports news tonight, International Table Tennis Federation confirms Nigeria's Aruna Quadri as Africa's #1 player in its latest ranking.
And from Abuja, I'm Linda Akibi. Resident doctors call for urgent intervention by the federal government to avert nationwide strike.
We begin tonight with some strong words coming from the president on the southern Kaduna crisis. President Muhammadu Buhari today gave a clear directive to security operatives to deal decisively with elements considered to be a threat to national security. This fresh warning is coming from President Buhari 2 weeks after the first order to the military to resolve the crisis in the affected area. The Nigerian Army is in the process of setting up 2 battalions in southern Kaduna, while the Air Force continues to carry out air surveillance across flashpoints. In addition, President Buhari has commended the military for the diligent investigation which led to the recovery of Rekia Abubakar, one of the abducted Chibok girls in the Alagano area of Damboa local government area of Borno state. Speaking through his special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, the president assured Nigerians that the government will continue to do all within its powers to assist the military in locating the rest of the girls and eradicating the menace of terrorism in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has begun aerial surveillance of southern Kaduna to fish out suspected armed men that have been attacking villages in the area. The Air Force officer commanding at the Kaduna Training Command, Air Vice Marshal Christopher Okoye, explains that the exercise is part of efforts by security operatives to forestall further clashes and restore normalcy in ravaged communities.
For every problem that arises in a nation, there should be a solution. And this can be said for Nigeria, currently battling to ensure its security apparatus is efficiently equipped to ensure all vices standing against its stability are stamped out. The persistent problems of insurgent attacks by the Boko Haram sect and clashes between herdsmen and farmers are some of the priority issues on the table of the federal government. And the military, in devising means of quelling the threats, is also reaching out to the civilian society on vigilance. First is the army, whose attempt at dislodging the Boko Haram sect is steadily reaping fruits. Their efforts have put the terrorists on the run, causing them to mix with society. This mission in Jos, Plateau State, is to warn of suspicious characters.
And then goes to see that we are making bold and steady progress in the operation in the Northeast. As you are aware, that Camp 0 has been captured, and there is the need for us to be conscious, security-wise, because of the likelihood of the escapees to infiltrate into the civil society. I believe it's because of that we have a military post by your entrance. It is not to intimidate you or harass you, it is to further give you public confidence that the state is safe.
Then there is the Air Force, taking responsibility for the aerial surveillance to fish out herdsmen allegedly unleashing mayhem in communities. This exercise in Kaduna State is coming after attacks in southern Kaduna sparked protests and allegations of genocide.
While at Angwarimi, I made a contact with the commander of the army unit on the ground, the 4th Battalion. So I assured him that henceforth, whenever he's going on patrol or any mission, we are going to coordinate and give him air cover to assist him in the kind of mission.
Without adequate security in place, all other attempts at development may as well be in vain. So it behoves on the security forces protecting the nation to ensure that peace reigns.
Staying with security matters, the Nigerian Army has indeed confirmed one of the abducted girls from Chibok in April 2014 has been found by troops of Operation Lafia Dole. Army spokesperson Brigadier General Sani Usman said this in a statement, adding that troops discovered Rekia Abubakar with her 6-month-old baby during an investigation of arrested Boko Haram suspects. He explains that preliminary investigation reveals that she is the daughter of Abubakar Gali Mulima and Habiba Abubakar of Chibok. According to the Army, the rescued girl is currently undergoing further medical investigation and will soon be released to the Borno state government. 21 of the Chibok girls were freed last year following negotiations with the militant group with a promise by the federal government to ensure the release of the remaining girls. To the Niger Delta area, the River State Governor Nyesom Wike is asking the 6th Division Nigerian Army to sustain military action to check criminality in parts of the state. The governor, who commended the troops of the division for their recent successful operation in Omoku, called for caution to avoid harming innocent persons in the process. Governor Wike said this when he received the General Officer commanding 6th Division, Major General Kasim Abdul Karim, and other senior officers in his office in Port Harcourt.
As a government, without security, you can't talk about good governance. Without security, people will not come to invest in order to create employment for our youth. Without employment, there will be a lot of youth restiveness. So security for us is key. If the environment is conducive, people will come, tourists will come, and the government would make money to do other developmental projects. So for us, if we would listen to our budget for 2017 security is key, because if you say you're talking about education and the place is not secure, how can they go to school? If the place is not secure, how can people go to hospital? If the place is not secure, how would they begin to go to market? So security for us is key to make sure that it leads to the improvement of other sectors. And therefore, whatever logistic support will support the division, will not look back. We're going to give you that support.
River State Governor Nyesom Wike. Meanwhile, the presidency has been explaining the circumstances surrounding the incident in which a gun went off at the presidential villa yesterday, injuring 2 persons. The presidency in a statement says reports received so far indicate that the security official involved in the incident is not attached to the State House. Rather, he came on invitation as a witness in an ongoing investigation and was required to surrender his weapon at the gate before entry. It adds that the operative was conducting the normal safety precaution as professionally required when the pistol went off. Away from security matters, airline operators and travelers in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, may have nothing to worry about while the runway at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport undergoes repair from March the 8th. The federal government says adequate security has been put in place at the Kaduna Airport, which will serve as an alternative during the rehabilitation.
The International Conference Center in Abuja was filled to capacity as the Minister of State for Aviation convened a stakeholders meeting to discuss the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. He informed the gathering that the closure has become imperative as he outlines security and safety measures put in place to ease air transportation to and from Kaduna Airport.
Kaduna town is 188 kilometers away from here where you sit. And the runway is 3,000 meters, 45 meters wide, and then it has shoulders of 10.5.
The chairman of Airline Operators of Nigeria and International Airline Operators expressed reservations over the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport.
We believe that the runway should be either repaired at night, like what is done in other countries, We believe that Kaduna might be an alternative for local operators, but definitely not for international airline operators.
The British Deputy High Commissioner also raised concerns about the movement of passengers from Abuja to Kaduna.
We're interested in how many international operators currently fly in and out of Kaduna Airport and how many international flights there are a week.
All the concerns raised by the stakeholders were addressed by the Minister of State for Aviation.
So Kaduna, yes, has the capacity to take jumbo jets and 777s in and out with a very secure, safe and smooth operations.
The runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport was built in 1982 with a lifespan of 20 years. But 14 years after its lifespan expired, it has become unsafe for air travelers.
Staying with aviation, airline passengers are still counting their losses, even as the Harmattan haze eases. However, the inconsistent supply of aviation fuel remains a challenge in the aviation industry. Some of the passengers who spoke to Channels Television complained of the lack of information from airlines as persistent delays disrupt their schedules. Our aviation correspondent, Bukola Joe Oketumbi, reports.
Air transport plays a major role in the social development of communities all over the world. Here in Lagos, passengers are seated within the General Aviation Terminal, waiting for their boarding call as the Harmattan haze appears to be easing.
My flight is 110. Ordinarily, by now, should have been called, for boarding. But I haven't heard anything, so I'm hoping, praying that there won't be any delays, because delay is the new currency now.
Statistics from some of the aviation agencies showed an improvement to destinations in the southeast and Abuja, but some areas in the north and Benin in Edo State still remain largely affected by the haze.
I come to find out that there was cancellation yesterday and cancellation again today. So that means for 2 days cancellations. The thing we're saying is it's not really about the cancellation, it's information. Tell the customers on time what to expect so that people can make alternative arrangements.
While we're filming at the General Aviation Terminal, this argument broke out as some Arik Air passengers from the United Kingdom and heading to Port Harcourt got angry over what he called a 48-hour delay with no information. Coming closely on the heels of passengers beating up a staff of Arik Air in a similar circumstance at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos on Wednesday. Another passenger on the same route explained that her team had waited for more than 7 hours.
Well, I've been here since 6 a.m. My flight is supposed to be for 7:30. Our clients, basically my colleagues, are also waiting. They've been expecting us for hours now. We have work to do, but Arik has decided to keep us here. They've not told us anything. We don't know if it's aviation flight. We heard from them that they don't have aviation for. Then we asked some of the airport staff. They said the weather is bad. We don't even know what is going on.
Authorities at Arik Air, speaking off camera, cited the scarcity of aviation fuel as the reason for the carrier's flight delays and cancellations. Bukola Joe Oketumbi, Channels Television News.
The National Primary Health Care Development Agency has dismissed the report of a suspected polio outbreak in Cross River State. The acting executive director of the agency, Mr. Emmanuel Odu, told journalists in Abuja that the agency's technical team deployed to the state found that the suspected case is not poliomyelitis. According to him, the reported case is that of talipes, a medical condition in which one or both feet of a child is twisted into an abnormal position, usually at birth.